Oh, how you doing, Richard?
I'm very well, Gary. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, just I don't know, up and down. You go in those kind of like wavy motions, don't you? So sometimes you're other times you're like, hey. Yeah, so it's kind of like a time at the moment. Well, it kind of changes much, but yeah, I just noticed that kind of I don't know change in demeanor, should we say, or change in energy level. What is it like? Because we haven't got really anything to talk about, have we? So let's just talk about that. Let's talk about changing
Well,
experiences.
well, and also, yeah, it's okay actually to have nothing on the agenda or nothing on the theme because it actually opens up to something that could be quite powerful for many people.
Indeed. Yeah. So there's nothing.
So you were saying about your ups and downs, but we all get them all the time. Huh?
Yeah, of course we do. I think that's some of the misconception, isn't it? That we believe that we can achieve this place of constant happiness or constant joy or blissful feelings. I mean, from a yoga perspective, there's this concept of samadhi that you can, and I think it gets misinterpreted as being a state that you stay in all the time. It's similar to the other kind of concepts that we have about enlightenment or what else, other ways of calling that being awake, as they would say in Buddhism, or there's this misunderstanding that is a place of constant joy or constant happiness or constant you know feelings of being up all the time, that you're not going to have these kind of downturns. You're not going to have periods where you're feeling a bit not kind of, the human experience suddenly goes away, that you're only ever going to have one emotion.
And that's it. And
yes.
so what do we do next?
Yeah, exactly. We have to have this one emotion in my life. I'll give you, I suppose it's the this myth that we're all chasing happiness, aren't we?
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a big one. It's a big subject. It's a big area, but I mean, it does affect many people in all aspects of that happiness at work, happiness in life, happiness in relationship, happiness with friends. The list is endless. Huh?
Yeah,
exactly. And it's that ups and downs as well. We always look for it externally, where it's internally, and happy can mean, I'm quite happy actually speaking to you from a car.
Yeah.
as if I was in the office or wherever I was outside. I'd be quite happy doing what it is, where it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I suppose, if anything, there's, knowing who you are, or having an understanding of how your experience is created, who you are truly, having a experiential kind of understanding of samadhi or that state does have some form of, should we say, experiential benefit with it, but it's not this constant kind of happiness. It's just more of a, everything's okay, it's fine. I can be in a down state. I can have a negative emotion. I don't have to put it on any object in the world. I don't have to do anything with it. I don't have to try to manage it or push it away, or push myself into another kind of emotional state. I can just allow it to be here, and it will move and dissipate on its own without me having to get involved in it. And notwithstanding that we can have very kind of depressive states. We can be down because of lack of energy. We can be down because of lack of sleep. I mean, all those kind of things, again, need to be taken into account with our emotions and our energy levels. But generally, you don't need to do anything with your emotional states. You don't need to, be in relationship with them, if that makes sense. You don't have to manage them in any way.
You don't have to manage them, or you don't have to go with them even. It's just that momentum of it all. I mean, today I was helping out in a group conversation, and we were talking about the truth of things and about life and the truth for this guy and his family, etc., and that he's okay. But and it was interesting how truth was actually meaning something totally different for everyone else.
Mm.
And actually, truth for him was actually behind it was happiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
The truth of being happy with the father and the mother, and being okay to say what he wanted to say. It's interesting how, as you said, as soon as we attach it to we attach that thought to all the thoughts that connect with it, it creates that bundle of threads, and it takes us into as you say, depression, into burnout, into whatever. And it's just to accept, recognize. It's like the Green Cross Code, and we've talked about that, the red, amber, and green. It's just picking up on it and just saying, hey, just stop for a second. Is that really happening?
Yeah. Is this story I'm telling myself really true? Is that separate self that I'm creating really exist? This person that this is happening to. There isn't anything here that it needs to happen to. There's just experience happening, and experience changes constantly, and it will come, it will go, it will ebb, it will flow, and behind that there's always this constant sense of okayness, of happiness, of being at peace, and it's a small thing, but it is actually quite a big thing to realize that moment to moment, that you're always okay, you're always at peace, you're always present. You don't need to do anything to get to the present moment. I don't need to do anything to find happiness, or I don't need to do anything with the outside world to find happiness and peace. It's a paradox. I know people probably listen to this probably say, well, how can you say that you can be happy and peace and still have a negative emotion? But that's the paradox that you see, is that it's all okay, so I can have all these different emotions and be up and down without doing anything about them.
It just comes to mind now. Is it like noticing and appreciating it?
I don't know,
from your perspective.
From my perspective, sitting here, I mean, it sounds like there's an action being done. There might be I'm constrained by language. There might be a noticing and appreciating it in some way, but it's not really an action. It's not really a defined tool or task or technique or tactic. That's how it is right now for me.
Yeah, it's as I said, I'm quite happy being in the car. Traffic's passing by, but I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. It's not a problem.
Yeah, it's not nothing ever is a problem.
No, but we take it either being negative or positive. But I had a conversation with my stepson, and I was sharing with him, it's the way you're taking it. You think it's either positive or negative, but actually life itself, it's just neutral.
Yeah.
And the example I gave him is with the plants that we do in the garden and stuff, and the vegetables that we grow. They're gonna grow. Their energy, they're gonna grow. They're gonna grow in their form. They've been drowned now with all the rain that we had, and they'll come back. They'll produce something. And it's always that resilience of knowing that you have that well-being, innate well-being inside you that can just bounce back at any time.
Yeah, indeed. The one thing I would pick, I wouldn't say life is neutral in one way. I would say that it's neutrally applied to everything. Yeah. But life in general is for you rather than against you. It's got your interest at heart in some way.
It's never against you.
It's never against you. Yeah. It's never actively working against you. There's never anything out there that's working to thwart you. Life wants you to survive. It wants you to thrive. This is why you talk about innate mental health in some ways, that we are designed, for want of a better way of putting it, to be mentally healthy. That is our natural state, like breathing is our natural state. It's something that's already in the system, and we can take it ourselves away from that point by just thinking.
I was just thinking when you were saying that, how many of us take for granted that we breathe.
Yeah.
Even on this conversation, I'm taking for granted that I'm breathing.
Yeah.
Isn't it fantastic? In fact, isn't it fantastic that this hand is actually serving me in holding this phone, in driving the car? And I'm happy that it's there, because I couldn't do without my hands to drive the car. People use other things when they don't have their hands, but this is a great service to us. This is really a fantastic thing that we have that. And yet we have the same with our mind and brain. It's there, it's part of the body part, and it's there to serve us, and it's there to, as you say, it's a guidance. It's a tool. It's not a tool. It's a guidance of life. It's just showing you that life is never against you. It's just for you.
Yeah. But it's also, this neutral thing it's also for everything else as well. So it's for the bumblebee, it's for the insects, it's even for the coronavirus in some way. Not in some way, well, it is. It's for everything. And so the knowing and seeing of that takes a big weight off you, because you're like, oh, okay, well, there is something that is for me and guiding me and holding me and keeping me, has got my interests at heart. And you can then let go of a lot of anxiety and worry. And if anything, that is the peace that you find. But of course, within that, you're going to have the complete human experience as usual. You're going to be angry, but then there's an allowance of it, as we talked about with anger, I think once. There's just an allowance of everything without having to add any more to it or take any of it away.
What comes to mind when you just said that now about the peace and the happiness? Do people imagine? I don't know. I mean, for me, what I see is people get confused with happiness and peace. It's the same.
Yeah.
If we chop down the words, and we just look at it as just what it is, it's just being there, peaceful as you are, lots of clarity, lots of calmness, and you're okay, Jack, which means happiness.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's if the definition of people have of happiness is some sort of emotional state, rather than just an acceptance and peace of life, then they will get confused. But we're not talking about having an emotional state, because, as you said, the emotional states change all the time, day by day, depending on a multitude of things. Some of it we have no kind of clear idea about. Sometimes they just change because they need to change. If you watch yourself throughout the day, you'll notice that they change constantly, and some of them are even some of them can change in relation to things that are happening. They can change in relation to your biochemical state and your, whether you've slept enough, or whether you've eaten the right things, or maybe being ill, or having some form of disease. All those can change your emotional states, but within that, there's the understanding and knowing of who you are, and that understanding and knowing who you are is the thing that just takes away all the existential angst, shall we say. And yeah, that's a big chunk of your experience of life, is that existential angst. You're no longer like a squirrel going. What's going
Yeah, I
on
mean, and it relates very much to the retreat that we want to do at the end of August. It's
there?
everyone's going to get something different
Yeah,
for themselves.
exactly.
And if you think it's just about being happy or being peaceful, no, everyone's going to get something different.
Yeah, exactly. And whatever you get from it, it might, we're not promising that you'll walk away from this retreat, having some form of life-changing experiences that changes you on, the next day. I mean, that could happen, and it'll be beautiful if that did happen to somebody. I mean, I've seen that happen to people with kind of on these kind of retreats where they have these kind of realizations and they have a really big shift, and it's amazing to watch when somebody has that shift, and you see them shift in a very small space of time. But sorry, not at but and normally you'll go on this retreat and you'll see one or two things, or you'll see a couple of insights into your life, and all right, okay, that's where my experience is coming from. It's not coming from the outside world. It's not being generated out there. It's being generated here, and that is just the opening that just lets it's the crack that lets a bit more light in, and then from that there can be a kind of an unveiling and a dissolution and a falling away, so that it starts a process and a catalyst of change for you.
Yeah, I think it's really about what is it that you want, and that's your question to yourself, not asking us. It's really asking yourself, what is it you really want to get from being here at the retreat? What is it that you want to experience? Because it's your experience, as you share, and if you have that intention, it's creating that commitment towards the retreat, and you'll get something from it.
Yeah, you definitely will. Yeah, just by being there. So when's the retreat, Richard?
End of August, Gary.
End
End of August.
End of August.
End of August. And we've got some interesting people, interesting things coming up. So
we have, yes. We have obviously me and you, which is worth the investment.
It's worth all the money. It's worth all that investment just having you and I there.
Just having myself and Richard to hang out with. We've also got the breath work. And if you've been following these videos, I shall be talking with Ali and Christine tomorrow about the breath work. And that, as I've experienced some breath work myself, and that in itself is worth the value of the retreat, just to be able to go and experience breath work. And that has a strong transformational power as well, of helping you remove a lot of the noise, and then everything, either above or below the noise, which way ever you want to go with that metaphor. But as you get rid of the noise, get above it or get below it, and then there's a lot more clarity and insight that can come up for you as well. So that is going to be a really good experience, I think, for people as well.
Are you going to throw in a bit of yoga and meditation as well?
Well, of course, being a yoga meditation teacher. And if you haven't done yoga before, then don't get too stressed out about it. My form of yoga is very slow, very mindful, and it's not about being bendy or flexible. It's just really about, again, being present with the body. The body is the vehicle that takes us through this journey of life. So we need to take care of it. So that becomes important when it comes to just having a little bit of yoga, a little bit of meditation, just to, again, is we're creating this environment, this space for men to come on and connect with themselves, whatever that means for them.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I. Good. So thank you very much for watching, people. Any questions about the retreat? Any questions about generally what we're talking about? Please do let us know. But other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye bye.
See you, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.